I was raised Christian, and I married a person who is Jewish, so we have an interesting pairing. We've raised our children Christian. I've had a couple of experiences with people who have questions about yoga and whether it's okay to practice yoga if you're Christian. And if I'm going to be trying to get them to become, I don't know, am I going to take the yoga philosophy and try to change them, try to turn it into a religion? And I said, no. When I first was exposed to yoga, it was at the YMCA. And it was a very asana-based, it was an exercise class. And I found that when I was done with yoga there, I always felt like I could breathe easier. I felt like my mind was freer. And that's where I guess I first experienced the spirituality of yoga. So taking it from a fitness perspective, I've always taught in gyms, or right now I'm teaching at a community center, and I'm not teaching the philosophy of yoga, the religion that people are afraid of. I'm teaching from a fitness base. Okay, so then from there, when people are in their final relaxation, that's when it happens. That's when people are beginning to realize that their minds are clearing and they can just be at peace. And they can be feeling whatever they want to be feeling. And then we come out of our final resting and we're all sitting there at the end of class. And I just see everyone's faces, the peacefulness. There's no talking. Class will be done, I'll say namaste, and everyone just sits there. And you can just see that you've given them the gift of space, of just being able to be wherever they are. And I think sometimes the physical practice, the exercise and everything, kind of gets everything else out of the way, so that by the end, you're just in a state of peacefulness. Yeah.
I was raised Catholic. At about 14 or 15, our parents said to us, it's your journey if you want to continue with being a Catholic or if you want to choose a different religion. And we sort of, at that age, I don't think we were old enough to really know where we wanted to go. And I feel like with my practice of yoga, which started about 17 years ago, I sort of found my church in yoga. So I don't feel like there's any conflict with my belief in God and doing yoga. I think it's all internal, and I think yoga teaches you tolerance and openness to every religion. So I don't feel any conflict. But I do feel now I have to step up as a parent because my son is at the age where he's supposed to make a communion, and I have to step up and decide whether it's where I want to go with him with my Catholic religion upbringing. And I think if I just speak with him and relate to him all the things that I learned in the yamas and niyamas, I think that he can make that decision on his own as he gets older.
I was born and raised Mormon, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I have a huge, ginormous practicing Mormon family. I've practiced yoga for about 10 years, and 5 years ago I stopped actively practicing the Mormon religion, but it's been fascinating listening to everyone because up until that point in my life I had been taught and told and knew no different. I did what I was supposed to do. I was doing, never encouraged to really do anything. Practicing yoga has cleared my mind and opened me up to anything. So I'm at a point in my life where whatever direction I go, I know that I'm the one that's directing it. I'm in charge of it. I have children myself, and am at that same point, not knowing what to do. But I think with what I learned with yoga, that will be able to teach them to find it within themselves to do what they want to do. So I've never had a conflict. I actually learned to do yoga in Utah with Mormons, so it wasn't until yesterday where someone brought it up, the whole religious perspective on it. I never even thought that there would be a conflict. So
And I have been Muslim for 6 years, actually. So before that, I was various different forms of Christianity. So my whole life, I've kind of been on like a spiritual journey, and it seemed that Islam was the end of that journey, and then I started doing yoga, and it's really become like, it's kind of like a kick in the pants. It's kind of like, remember what your religion was saying to you? Like, that's what you should be doing. So it's been a really big partner with Islam together into just finding like a more closeness to God for me. It has been. But it could be that for anybody if they wanted it to be, right? If they don't, then they don't have to.
And I'm a level 4 YogaFit, and it's been a wonderful journey these past 2 years. I think I'm a Catholic, and now I'm with a Bible-based church. I just needed more. And I find some of the scriptures are very much the same as, I don't know, call it Sanskrit Sutras, Patanjali, and Satchidananda. They're all one and the same. The journey may be different, but the end result is the oneness and the communion and the divineness we all have within each other, in ourselves. And I think YogaFit has just given me and the people that join me in YogaFit, my class, is a time to be one with that Creator, that one person, that Lord, whoever you want to call it. It's permission. Sit there and be with yourself. Be with your issues, be with your God. I also take it outside, and you start seeing God's creation, or it's a cathedral for me outside. So we're on a mountain, looking at the mountain view. We do our mountain. And such as that, you can sit there and you can meditate. Right now we'll be doing the colors, and that resonates with the chakras. And it's just time to be, and I can see people going away with, and they feel better, and they feel calm. They gave themselves time to be quiet time, be one, and listen. And they want to keep coming back. It's like this time away from work, from busy time. And it isn't like pounding, I guess, religious studies on them. It's just time to be innately a divine essence in them, and they're finding that through yoga, through YogaFit, and what I'm doing here and bringing back to them. And it's been wonderful.
I practice YogaFit. I have a history of being connected to the Christian religion. I'm a WASP. And I've been on a long spiritual search, as long as I can remember. Yoga was not my first door in. I actually started with another teacher and became a Reiki master, and then eventually yoga came across my path. And I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so grateful for this program. And since I've been teaching yoga, being a student and being a YogaFit instructor, I think it's been 5 or 6 years now. I have so much more tolerance for myself, for my religion, for other religions. Many of my friends are Orthodox Jews, Muslims, Indian, Protestant. There's a lot of closed-mindedness in all religions, and there's a lot of open-mindedness in many people, but not necessarily in any particular group. And it's not any religion that creeps me out, it's the closed-mindedness that really creeps me out. And even the closed-mindedness that's without religion is even scarier. Because at least sometimes when there's the structure of religion, there might be some little bit of reminder, like to love thy neighbor or something like that. And when it's just this isolated closed-mindedness, it's pretty intense. And yet, rather than backing away from it, which is what has been my only way to cope over the years, now I can resist it and tolerate it and not kind of surrender to it, not collapse, and not even have to change people. Just to let them have their own experience of what they think yoga is or isn't. Or yoga is just a little example of the world or someone's ideas. Whatever yoga means to them. Just to, let them be afraid. Let them not be afraid. If they want it, if they don't want it, it's all okay. It's all good. But I love that the idea of loving kindness, which I think is at the core of all religions and all spiritual groups, but it gets lost, it just gets trampled, and it's not that easy to hold on to.
I already feel at peace being in it. I was raised without any particular religion, but my parents are Buddhist. They grew up in Burma, but were Chinese. So I have kind of an interesting background. I went to Catholic high school and college, so I've been exposed to very different religions throughout my life. But what I have decided for myself is that rather than being religious, I'm very spiritual. I started practicing yoga a few years back, but I've never been very intensive with it. It wasn't until a couple years ago when I started going through a really difficult time in my life that I started practicing it more intensely. And I really recognized how it allows you to release things from your mind and from your heart that make you heavy. And something that yoga has helped me do is realize that you can find happiness from within yourself and from everyone around you. And particularly with the YogaFit community, we all feel like one. We can just reach out and feel each other's energy. And we're all over the country and all over the world soon. And I think that's just a very beautiful, simple idea. It makes you realize how small you are, but how big you are together as one, too.